Mark Denholm
at breakfast podcast.
Hello, nearly there, eh? Nearly there. Ho, ho, ho. Welcome to episode 248 of the Atom Radio Best Bits podcast. You know what's quite annoying? Is that we can't get to 250 this year. No. That's a little bit annoying. But it is what it is. Welcome, though, to this podcast on the 16th of December when it launches. It is the best bits of the breakfast show for this week, and they include a relationship dilemma revisited, reminiscing, top 5 of reasons that you don't like Monday, roast potato con, they're not actually roasted, annoying door knockers, a naughty police officer, old people behaving badly, and times when you got caught short.
Mark Denholm
at breakfast podcast.
Atom Radio, morning and welcome to Monday. It is 6:13. It is Mark Denholm at breakfast. An American has moved to the UK and has now remarked on some of the things that we have in the UK that you don't have in America. This includes conservatories, doors to every room, letterboxes on doors, and toilet flushing options. But the one that really surprises me is a kettle. Now, here in the UK, I assume that every house has got a kettle. Apparently, in America, it's not a standard feature. How can you have a house that doesn't have a kettle? How do you brew up? How do you have a cuppa?
This is Mark Denholm
at breakfast.
Atom Radio.
Just to wrap up what we were talking about on Friday. So my friend was messaging a lady and she stopped messaging. They were supposed to meet at the weekend. She just stopped messaging. They didn't meet. And then Steph said, send a voice note. It's more personal than a written message. If she doesn't reply, leave it there. And that's what he's done. He sent a voice note on Friday. She didn't reply. They didn't meet. End of story. But it's not really end of story, though, is it? Because, I don't know, if it was me, I'd be thinking, well, what have I done wrong? And now he's never, ever going to know, is he? Because she's just stopped messaging. He'll never, ever know.
Mark Denholm
at breakfast.
This is Atom Radio.
I'm just thinking about Tom's halfpenny, which is the oldest thing he's got. He's found a halfpenny with his year of birth on it and keeps it in that. Do you remember back in the day, though, when things used to be $9.99 and a half? Bad enough now that things are $9.99 just so they can say under a tenner. Wow, $9.99 and a half.
Mark Denholm
at breakfast podcast.
This week, the top 5 of reasons you don't like Monday. At number 5, because it's the end of a very brief spell of freedom that's called the weekend. At number 4, because the mother-in-law always visits on a Monday. At number 3, I'm always on shift with a lady I can't stand every Monday. At number 2, because you waste half of Monday making small talk about all the things you didn't manage to do at the weekend that you had wanted to do. And at number 1, it was first in, it was short and it was sweet, and you can't disagree with it because it's Monday and there's nothing good about it at all.
Mark Denholm
at breakfast podcast.
Online, on mobile, on smart speaker, this is Atom Radio, the home of the anthems all day long, and it is Mark Denholm at breakfast. We asked TikTok's roast potato queen for her perfect air fryer recipe. So says a newspaper. Well, if she's an air fryer, then they're not roast potatoes, are they? They're fried potatoes. Not that I'm being pedantic, but you know what I'm saying. A roast potato needs to be roasted. The clue is in its name, roast potato.
Mark Denholm at breakfast.
This is Atom Radio.
But a Bristol homeowner has installed a tall wooden fence outside his house, blocking cold callers, and warns anyone who knocks unannounced that they will face a 25 grand fine. The elaborate notice placed in front of a regular terraced home in the Bedminster suburb of Bristol also appears to ban people from putting junk mail through the letterbox. The sign warns that any passing charity fundraiser, political canvasser, delivery driver or stricken neighbour will face consequences for stepping into the small front porch and knocking on the door. Now, this has been put up in this huge fence which has gone outside. It does say minimum penalty of 25 grand or 1,500 troy ounces of British silver coins per person or per vehicle per offence, including vehicles manned or remotely operated. And at present, 1,500 troy ounces of silver is the equivalent of £27,360. What I want to know today is, what's the most annoying reason that anyone has ever knocked your door?
Mark Denholm
at breakfast podcast.
Atom Radio at 6:20. Morning, and welcome to Thursday, If you've got an iPhone, do the security update. It will block thieves from accessing your phone. And a female police officer who claimed her ex-boyfriend assaulted her 14 times is sacked when detectives realise the ex-boyfriend doesn't even exist. Oh, hello.
This is Mark Denholm
At breakfast.
Atom Radio.
A Devon pensioner on a mobility scooter runs a man down for buying the last pasty. I kid you not, this is dead serious, and this is actual news. Footage shows the man angrily waving his walking stick like a sword as he speeds down Mill Street in Devon. He then runs his mobility scooter into the man, causing him to fall over a shop sign. One woman attempts to wrestle the pensioner's walking stick off him in an intense standoff, but he refused to let go, and the pasty buyer is being seen being helped to his feet before limping away from the scene. On air at atomradio.co.uk today, and I'm not encouraging this is just hypothetical. Do not go out and run anyone over with a mobility scooter, but for what high street takeaway food would you be most likely to run somebody over with your mobility scooter if you had one? On air at atomradio.co.uk is my email address this morning. Please note, do not run anyone over for their choice of takeaway food. That would be very nice indeed.
Mark Denholm.
At breakfast. Podcast.
Friday, baby, and not just any old Friday, but the last Friday in the school term as well. By lunchtime today, that's all done. So if you are a school pupil, it's Christmas holidays. If you work in a school, it's also Christmas holidays. No doubt kicking off with the festivities of a Christmas party tonight as well. So happy, joy. And if you are a school worker, enjoy your knees up tonight. Today, though, I want to talk to you about going for a wee, because in Bristol, a Yodel driver got caught on a Ring doorbell having a wee in someone's garden. I doubt they said cheers drive when he dropped off the package, did they? Today, I want to know, though, given that the Yodel driver got caught short and took a wee in someone's garden, where is the strangest place that you've been caught short needing a wee, and what did you do about it? On air at atomradio.co.uk. This is genius. I like this. Morning, Greg. Happy Friday to you. Greg says, stuck in motorway traffic and we barely moved. We moved at a crawl, and it was at least an hour, and I knew that I needed a wee, but I knew there were services coming up in around about 5 miles time, so I thought, yeah, I'll be all right, not knowing then that we were going to sit in traffic. We then pull up into traffic and we didn't move for about 40 minutes. Then we started crawling along, and I thought, wait a minute, I'm never ever going to make the services. So what I did was I pulled over into the hard shoulder, and I lifted the bonnet of the car, put the hazard lights on, and I sat down in the passenger seat of my car with the door open, thinking, well, people will think I'm waiting for the breakdown recovery, and then I could just go without anybody knowing what I was doing. And then when I finished that, I waited a couple of minutes, got out, put the car bonnet back down again, got back in and drove off, hoping nobody would be any the wiser. I think that's genius, Greg. I really do. We've all been got caught short, haven't we, at some point in time on the motorway, and you can't just get out and have a wee. I mean, it's fine if you've got a child and they need to go, then yes, that is fine, I suppose. But if you're a fully grown adult, you can't just stand at the hard shoulder, can you, and have a wee onto the motorway verge? Absolutely not. Greg, I think that's a genius idea.
Mark Denholm.
At breakfast. Podcast.
I think that's a genius idea. I broke down in September, and I phoned the recovery service, and the first estimate was about an hour and a half. As it turned out, I sat at the side of the road for 5.25 hours before I got rescued. And I wish, to be honest, that I thought of Greg's idea while I was sat at the side of the road. It was quite an annoying time, but there we are. Thank you though, Greg, for that. Should ever I break down again, I will certainly remember your idea. And what about those old people behaving badly, eh? Running a man down because he bought the last pasty. Now, to be fair, the man on the mobility scooter, you know, there is a queuing system in most places, isn't there? And most places work on a first-come, first-served basis. You get there, there's one pasty left. Hello, can I have that pasty, please? Yes, you get it. The man in the mobility scooter, if he'd left his house a minute or so earlier, he'd have been in front of the man that bought the pasty, and therefore he would have got it, and the man behind him that he then went to run down would not have got it. I doubt that he would have run along and shoved him off of his mobility scooter. Just a thought, you know. And who says it's always the youth that are the disruptive ones, eh? Thank you for checking out episode 248 of the podcast. As always, if you've enjoyed it, I would encourage you to subscribe in your podcast app or indeed on YouTube as well. And don't forget to check out the show Tuesday to Friday this week, online, on mobile and on smart speaker.
Mark Denham.
At breakfast.
Podcast.